While American bombs fall from the sky and Israeli jets strike from above, someone inside Iran has been helping from the ground. 20 people just got arrested in a single Iranian province, accused of sending the exact locations of military bases, police stations, and security facilities directly to Israel. These aren't foreign agents who snuck across the border. These are Iranians, citizens of the Islamic Republic, living in Iranian cities, walking past Iranian soldiers every day, and secretly transmitting the coordinates those soldiers work at to the very country that's bombing them. Iran isn't just fighting a war against the United States and Israel. It's fighting a war inside its own borders, against its own people. And tonight on the Ops Room, I'm going to break down exactly who was arrested, what they're accused of, how Israel built a spy network inside Iran that's guiding precision strikes in real time, why this is happening in one specific province, what it tells us about the regime's grip on power, and how this connects to the most devastating intelligence operation in the history of the Middle East. Plus, I've got critical updates on Israeli interceptor shortages, new missile strikes on Tel Aviv, South Korea sending warships to the Gulf, and the Fujairah port fire that's still burning. Everything you need to know. Let's go. Iran's Tasnim news agency, which is directly affiliated with the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, reported today that security forces arrested 20 individuals in West Azerbaijan province in northwestern Iran. The capital of that province is Urmia, a city of over 700,000 people near Iran's borders with Turkey and Iraq. The provincial prosecutor issued a statement that is extraordinary in both its language and its implications. He said, quote, "Several networks of mercenaries associated with the hands of the Zionist regime who were cooperating, including sending details of military, law enforcement, and security locations to the Zionist enemy, were hit. 20 individuals were arrested and detained by issuing a judicial order." Let me unpack that language because every word matters. Networks, plural. This wasn't one spy. This wasn't one informant acting alone. These were multiple organized networks operating simultaneously in the same province. Mercenaries. Iran is claiming these people were paid. They didn't betray their country out of ideology alone. They did it for money. Associated with the hands of the Zionist regime, Iran is directly accusing Israel's intelligence services of recruiting, handling, and directing these informants from inside Iranian territory, and sending details of military, law enforcement, and security locations. These people were transmitting precise coordinate data on where Iran's military assets are positioned, where the IRGC has bases, where police stations are located, where security checkpoints operate. The exact information needed to guide precision airstrikes. And this is where it connects to the broader war. Last week, Reuters reported something that sent shockwaves through the intelligence community. Reuters said that Israel had launched a new phase of its assault on Iran based on, their exact words, tip-offs from informants on the ground. Not satellite imagery, not signals intelligence, not drone surveillance, human intelligence. People inside Iran telling Israel where to aim. Since the war began on February 28th, Israel alone has conducted 7,600 strikes inside Iran. Combined with U.S. operations, over 15,000 targets have been hit. Military analysts have been stunned by the precision. IRGC headquarters in Avaz destroyed. Underground missile production facilities in Shiraz penetrated. Air defense command centers in Tehran eliminated. Weapons factories identified and bombed. The level of targeting accuracy suggested intelligence that goes far beyond what satellites and electronic surveillance can provide. Now we know why. Israel has human sources on the ground, inside Iran, feeding real-time location data directly to military planners. And the choice of West Azerbaijan province is deeply significant. This region is home to a large Kurdish and Azerbaijani ethnic minority population, communities that have historically had tense relationships with the central government in Tehran. The IRGC has operated heavily in this region, suppressing ethnic minority activism and maintaining a strong military presence near the Turkish and Iraqi borders. It's exactly the kind of area where Israel's Mossad intelligence service would recruit, among populations that have grievances against the regime and connections across international borders that facilitate communication. The human rights organization Hengal, which monitors the Kurdish regions of Iran, has documented at least 21 Kurdish civilians killed in strikes targeting IRGC facilities in these areas. Among them, Mitra Jalilavi, a 30-year-old pregnant woman in her 9th month, her husband Farzad, and their 4-year-old son Karen, killed when a strike hit an IRGC building near their home in Marivan. The IRGC embeds its facilities in civilian neighborhoods. Israeli informants provide the locations. Israeli jets strike those locations, and civilians living nearby die. The 20 arrests also reveal something about the scale of Israel's intelligence penetration that Iran almost certainly doesn't want to admit. If 20 people were caught in one province, how many are operating in other provinces? Iran has 31 provinces. The IRGC has facilities, bases, command centers, and weapons storage sites spread across the entire country. If Israel has recruited spy networks in West Azerbaijan, the logical assumption is they've done the same in Isfahan, in Fars, in Khuzestan, in Tehran itself. 20 arrests might be the tip of an iceberg that extends across the entire country. And Israel has a long history of exactly this kind of intelligence operation inside Iran. Mossad agents have assassinated Iranian nuclear scientists on the streets of Tehran. They stole Iran's entire nuclear archive, literally broke into a warehouse and drove out with half a ton of documents. They've conducted sabotage operations against centrifuge facilities. They've recruited senior officials who provided intelligence for years before being detected. Israel's intelligence penetration of Iran is arguably the deepest any foreign intelligence service has achieved against a major adversary since the Cold War. The timing of these arrests, during the most intense phase of the war, suggests Iran's counterintelligence services are in crisis mode. They know their military positions are being compromised. They know strikes are hitting targets with impossible precision. They know someone is talking. And the 20 arrests are likely the result of a frantic sweep to plug leaks that are getting Iranian soldiers killed every single day. But arresting 20 people doesn't solve the problem. If anything, it makes it worse. Because now every IRGC commander in every province knows that Israeli spies have been operating among them. Trust collapses. Paranoia spreads. Officers start suspecting their own colleagues, their own neighbors, their own subordinates. In a military already struggling with a missing supreme leader, a president being overruled by his own generals, and hardline lawmakers threatening to remove the civilian government, the revelation of widespread Israeli espionage adds another layer of internal chaos. And the State Department's $10 million bounty on Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei, with the offer of relocation for informants, is specifically designed to accelerate this collapse. Washington is publicly advertising that it will pay enormous sums and extract anyone who betrays the Iranian leadership. Every Iranian with access to sensitive information is now doing a private calculation. Stay loyal to a regime that might be collapsing, or take $10 million and a new life in the West. The 20 people arrested in Urmia apparently made their choice, and for everyone who got caught, there may be others who haven't been detected yet. Now let me connect this to the critical updates from today, because the spy arrests are happening against a backdrop of escalation on every front simultaneously. Missiles hit central Israel today. Fragments from missiles and interceptors fell in the Tel Aviv district. An 80-year-old man was injured by flying glass in Holon. An 80-year-old woman suffered smoke inhalation. Hezbollah fired cluster munitions at the town of Metula from Lebanon, the second such attack this week. Israel's home front is under continuous bombardment from both Iran and Hezbollah simultaneously. And here's a development that could change the entire trajectory of this war. Israel has quietly informed the United States that it is running critically low on ballistic missile interceptors. The Arrow and David sling systems that have been shooting down Iranian ballistic missiles for 16 days are burning through their interceptor stocks faster than they can be replenished. Each interceptor costs millions of dollars. Each Iranian ballistic missile requires one or more interceptors to defeat. Iran has fired hundreds of missiles. Israel's magazines are running dry. U.S. officials told reporters the shortage was, quote, expected and anticipated. They added that the United States is not facing a similar shortage of its own interceptors, but that distinction matters less than it sounds, because U.S. interceptors protect U.S. forces and U.S. defended positions. Israeli interceptors protect Israeli cities. If Israel runs out of Arrow interceptors, Iranian ballistic missiles start landing on Tel Aviv, Haifa, and Jerusalem. The Iron Dome handles short-range rockets from Hezbollah. But Iranian ballistic missiles flying at Mach 10 from 1,000 kilometers away require the high-end interceptors that are now running low. Israel's government approved an emergency budget cut of 2.6 billion shekels, roughly $700 million, for urgent defense procurement. They're buying armaments, advanced weapon systems, and renewing combat stocks. But manufacturing interceptors takes months. The production lines can't keep up with the consumption rate in a sustained war against an adversary with Iran's missile arsenal. Since the war began, 3,195 people have been evacuated to hospitals across Israel. 81 remain hospitalized, 1 in critical condition, 9 in serious condition. In just the last 24 hours, 108 wounded were admitted. The Israeli civilian toll is mounting, and if interceptor stocks run out, it will accelerate dramatically. Internationally, the war is pulling more countries in. South Korea is now considering sending warships to the Strait of Hormuz after a phone call with Trump. This comes as the U.S. relocates THAAD batteries from South Korea to the Middle East, weakening Korean peninsula defense against North Korea, while asking Seoul to contribute naval forces to the Gulf. South Korea said it will be, quote, in close contact with the U.S. on the deployment. The UAE intercepted more missile and drone attacks Sunday morning. Iran continues hitting despite the president's apology from yesterday. UAE officials said the country is, quote, exercising restraint while seeking a way out of the crisis. But restraint is getting harder when your oil ports are on fire. The Fujairah port blaze, sparked by debris from an intercepted Iranian drone on Saturday, continued burning through the night. Oil loading operations remain suspended. 1 million barrels per day of Murban crude capacity offline. Qatar intercepted 4 ballistic missiles and several drones from Iran on Saturday alone. 4 ballistic missiles aimed at a country with a population smaller than Houston, Texas. Switzerland, famously neutral Switzerland, rejected 2 U.S. military reconnaissance overflights connected to the Iran war, citing its neutrality laws. Even the Swiss are being forced to take positions in a conflict that is spreading across continents. France denied reports of a so-called French plan for an Israel-Lebanon ceasefire, calling the reports pure speculation. UN Secretary-General Guterres flew to Beirut urging, quote, immediate de-escalation between Israel and Lebanon. But de-escalation seems impossible when Israel is preparing its largest ground invasion of Lebanon since 2006, and Hezbollah is still firing cluster munitions at Israeli border towns. And in a development that ties directly to the Iranian spy story, Russia shot down 280 Ukrainian drones on Saturday, including 47 aimed at Moscow. Ukraine's President Zelensky reiterated his claim that Russia is supplying Iran with drone technology, the same Shahed drones that are hitting Gulf oil ports, U.S. embassies, and NATO facilities across the Middle East. The war in Ukraine and the war in Iran are connected by a drone supply chain that runs from Russian factories to Iranian launch pads to targets across 10 countries. Everything is connected. Israeli spies inside Iran are guiding strikes that destroy IRGC facilities. Iran's drones, built with Russian technology, are hitting Gulf ports and Israeli cities. Israel is running out of interceptors to stop Iranian missiles. South Korea is being asked to send warships while its own missile defense is being stripped away. Switzerland is refusing U.S. overflights. The UN chief is in Beirut begging for de-escalation while Israel masses troops for invasion. Iran's president is apologizing while his own military ignores him. And 20 people in a province most viewers have never heard of are sitting in Iranian prison cells, accused of helping the enemy destroy their own country's defenses. The war isn't just bombs and missiles. It's information. It's espionage. It's the person walking past an IRGC base with a phone in their pocket sending coordinates to a handler they've never met in a country they've never visited. It's the intelligence that turns a 7,600 strike campaign from carpet bombing into precision targeting. And it's the paranoia that's now spreading through every IRGC unit in every province in Iran. Because if 20 spies were caught in Urmia, there could be 20 more in Isfahan, 20 more in Shiraz, 20 more in Tehran. Iran is fighting enemies outside its borders and enemies inside its own population. Its supreme leader is missing. Its president is powerless. Its military is being guided to targets by its own citizens working for the other side. Its interceptor-strapped enemy is still managing to defend itself, and every day the bombs keep falling with a precision that only human intelligence can explain. 20 arrests, multiple spy networks, one province, and a war that's being fought not just in the sky, but in the shadows. This is the Ops Room. Subscribe, hit the bell, share this video, because the espionage war inside Iran is as important as the bombing campaign above it. I'll see you in the next one.